If you followed my channel for a while, then you know we are huge fans of the Tuttle twins here at our house. I have all of their products, and I'm excited to share with you in this video my review of their latest book, which launches today, Friday the 13th, and it is the Tuttle Twins Guide to True Conspiracies. It's right up my alley, and it's a continuation in the guidebook series. I will share in this video kind of an overview, in case you're not familiar, of all of the products and how we incorporate them in our home education. But especially I want to talk to you about this new book and my thoughts. I have a few, so let's get started. Hi there, welcome back to our house, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Karen, and I like to help families achieve sustainable and enjoyable homeschooling. And one piece of the puzzle that I have found to really help with that, to make homeschooling enjoyable, is for you to teach your kids about the things that you're passionate about and discuss these things and see how it takes shape in their own lives, in their own generation, with the events going on. I find that part really rewarding. And one of the great things, especially about being able to homeschool, is you have that time, you have those learning opportunities. And so part of how that looks like for me and here at our house is teaching my kids to think critically, that no matter who the source is, to always back it up and do your own research, look at the sources, and yes, also have a healthy level of skepticism for those that are in high power, because that is just human nature, right? Like the saying goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And there are plenty of examples, both in the past and unfortunately more recent times and current events, where I could point to and show my kids how this at one point was considered a conspiracy theory, just some crazy idea dismissed, and then was later found out to be true. So those are working examples to show them, hey, you just can't believe everything you hear. And so my favorite thing about this book is that as a busy parent, you know, maybe you're aware of these events, you've heard about it, you heard about the proof, you know, but you don't have everything gathered into one place in a easy for you to teach, easy for kids to read format. You know, you're not gathering all the congressional hearings and the testimony. You know, that is a lot to sift through to get those items that you need. And so the great thing is that it's already done for you in this book, which I love. Now, I love all of the guidebooks, but this is actually the first one that I'm going back a second time and tabbing, which I don't really know. I find it satisfying to tab these things, like, oh, that's such a good point. Yes, you know, and I want to tab it. But at this point, it's going to be the whole book tabbed anyway. So let's get into the actual book. I know I've kind of rambled there. You have a list of conspiracies, and I could tell you that the main takeaway is to be aware of misdirection, right? When a magician does a trick, at first you see it and you're like, wow, how did they do that? It's magic, right? And then when you realize the trick, then you're aware of, oh, I see what they did there. You know, a lot of times it's just about misdirecting your attention over here so you don't see what they're doing over there, right? So it's about being aware of misdirection, being a little skeptical, right? When everybody has the same talking points or something doesn't feel right, being aware of that, again, that healthy level of skepticism for those in power, and doing your own research. So I think that's sort of the main gist, and there's support that backs it up, is to just not believe everything you hear, have a healthy level of skepticism, research things for yourself, right? And be aware of misdirection. All right, so now diving deeper into the book, we have the list of conspiracies, and we have things like Operation Mockingbird, Operation Sea Spray, Project MK Ultra, the Tuskegee experiment, Operation Fast and Furious. I'm very familiar with that one. All the way to Hunter Biden's laptop and the creature from Jekyll Island. So you have a good mix of things in the past, and of course that have been proven to be true, and some more recent events. And I like the point that this book made, that you're not giving them a pass, of course, because it's just truly evil and horrible, some of these things especially. But it was during a time in America's history where there was a big concern about communism, nuclear war, and so you can see some of these out of desperation, right? Still evil, still doing things against people knowing what was going on, against their consent. But the ones that are happening now, it's just a higher level of evil, in my opinion. So let's take, for example, the Gulf of Tonkin, which, okay, I'll be honest with you, and again, I consider myself someone who's like fairly open and researching, conspiracy theories, but I will say probably like 85% of this book I had no idea about. I felt like this was very educational for me. So I'm excited to be able to, my plan is to read one of the conspiracy theories a night during my nightly read aloud to my kids. I think it's really going to be eye-opening for them. I know it was for me. So the Gulf of Tonkin deals with the Vietnam War, right? Kind of what fused it. And I never knew really, how did that all get started? Why were we there? So again, this was very educational for me. So it always starts off with a picture that's really good for kids, especially just to kind of get the idea of what the story is about, right? The main gist of it here. Then it goes on to the events, like what actually transpired. Then we have the things aren't always what they seem section, which explains like what was really happening in the background. What were the actual events that transpired? What came out later, explaining all of that. Then we have the section called Cui Bono, which is Latin for who benefits, who stands to benefit from a lie like this, from an event like this. Because usually, just like they say, follow the money, like follow who stands to benefit from something like this. And usually you will find who is responsible. So it has a great section that deals with that. And then you have, why does this matter? So in the grand scheme of things, this is giving you context and kind of the whole comprehensive picture. Why does this matter? Why should we care? And what we learned. So this is a great takeaway, because a lot of times you read stuff like this and you get frustrated and angry, but let's focus that energy back into, okay, what can we learn from this? What are some different things that we could do maybe moving forward? What do we have control over? All of that. So that's the section, what we learned. Then there is the actual like evidence. So each conspiracy theory has like some actual evidence to back up what they're saying actually happened. So for example, here, the Gulf of Tonkin mystery, there's actually a declassified review of evidence by the National Security Administration historian, and this was published in the NSA's classified journal in 2001. For example, here's a testimony to the U.S. Senate Subcommittee on Health and Scientific Research. Here's a congressional report. Here's an email from the former CIA acting director and his colleague. So there's always some evidence to back it up, which I love that. So I'll go ahead and insert a picture here of all of the conspiracy theories that are in this book. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below if there's any one of these in particular that you're really passionate about. For me, I think my top 3 favorites are The Creature from Jekyll Island, which there is a Tuttle Twins book for it. I don't know where mine is. I know we have all of them, but it is missing, but there is a follow-up if you want more information on that to read to the kids. That's one of my favorites, as well as Operation Fast and Furious. Of course, that's near and dear to me because of my location. And number 3 would be Social Media Manipulation, if you had to make me pick my top 3 favorites. But they're all so good. Like I said, about 85% I had no idea about. And I would think, that I'm pretty up on this sort of thing, but there's still so much for me to learn. Now, this new book is a continuation of the guidebook series. We already have Inspiring Entrepreneurs, Beware Your Bias, Courageous Heroes, and Logical Fallacies. So the Tuttle Twins Guide to True Conspiracies is launching today. I will go ahead and leave a link for it down in the comments and the description below. And if you do want to order it, I would say don't wait, because I remember in the past, things like the guidebooks, they sold out really quick. So I wouldn't wait. because I have a feeling that this is also going to sell out really quick. All right, thank you so much for watching this video. Now, if you like this type of content, I think you would really like that interview that I talked about with the author, so I will link it over here. However, YouTube's algorithm thinks you would like this video instead. So whichever one you choose, I will see you there. Bye for now.